Hi, everybody. I'm DJ Sixsmith. Welcome to Sit Down. Courtney Henggeler's here with us. Season 3 of Cobra Kai on Netflix. Courtney, really nice to meet you. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So the Cobra Kai story is a fascinating one, starting on YouTube, going to Netflix. I've seen things written about you where you were like, I'm almost out on acting. This show gave me my health insurance. So what has been the craziest part of this experience for you?
Keeping my health insurance. No, I think just the reaction to the show. I said I've been my whole career. I've watched other huge TV shows come up, and they always interview the actors, and it's like, what is it like being on the #1 show? And then you see their answer, and you're like, oh, that's crazy. And now I'm being asked these questions. I'm like, what's it like being on the #1 show? It's crazy and intense and awesome.
So how did the whole Netflix thing change life for you? Because obviously these movies had a big following. Cobra Kai started to gain some steam, but Netflix brings it to a whole different level. So when did you really start to see the change?
I mean, immediately. I think they just put season 1 and 2 out, earlier in the fall. And it was kind of like, I don't even think it was they made like a big deal about it. They're kind of like, here's the show. And immediately it caught on. Immediately it was #1. And so we were like, oh, wow, people can see us now. This is so great. And they like it, which is even better.
Why do you think the show resonates so deeply? I mean, it has the connections from the past, but what is it about this new iteration that really finds its way through?
Gosh, I think it just has something for everybody. I think our cast, when I look at everyone, they're so different and unique. And there's the bad boy, and there's the bad girl, and there's the bad boy who's being redeemed, and then there's like the Martin Cove character, you know what I'm saying? And then there's the adorable Mary character, not Mary character, her name Mary in real life, Sam. I just think there's for the younger audience, there's like everything that they need. For people who are just hardcore just Karate Kid fans, you have all of the nostalgia there. And it's great to see where everyone's been for the last 30 years and what they're up to and how their lives have evolved.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting. This show bridges the generational gap because you have kids that can watch the show, you have parents that can watch it with their kids, and then people have been showing these movies for decades, and now it's something that people can enjoy together. And also, listen, we're in the middle of a pandemic and people need stuff to watch, and if this comes up on the queue, I think that only helps, right?
I mean, absolutely. But yeah, watch it.
So when you think about playing Amanda, what has been most important for you to really focus on?
I think because I've had a history of playing a lot of wives in different shows and movies, I think it's tricky to walk the line between just being either the wife who's like, don't do that, or oh baby, and do it in that voice, obviously, because that's always nice. And or just kind of being in the background. And I think that it was important to me, and I think that the writers and the creators find a voice for me and find her in a very funny way. I think that they give her, she is the voice of reason, but in like a witty way. So that's always important to me, to kind of keep fighting to make Amanda be her own person and not just that woman.
I think that's really important, especially in a show like this, and obviously helps when you're working with a great cast. And Ralph Macchio is somebody who is easy to work with, and he's a great guy to get along with. And listen, he came to our studio, and I've never seen people more excited for somebody to come through. So what has been the best part of working with him?
Just a side note, we shared a car to the airport one season. We were going back home for Thanksgiving, and I hopped a ride in his car. I was just like, can I come in your car? And the driver took us to this in the Atlanta airport, like an underground sort of what have you. And I was just like, oh, what is this? And then we got out, and they knew, I don't know how they knew that Ralph was coming at that very moment. Swarms of people they were just like pushing me out of the way, and they were like, Ralph, 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 Ralph. And I'm like, we're like underground right now. I don't even know how people, I was like, this is just bananas. And he was just like, he's like, oh yeah, no, this is what happens. And he's like, have a great day.
Yeah, he's a good sport about it. I mean, if you've been doing it for all these decades, you just kind of have to roll with it at a certain point.
Oh, he's a pro, and he's so kind, and he gives everyone his time, and he's so generous, and he's lovely. Yes.
What has been the biggest learning experience from, spending time on set with him?
He's always got a million stories, and they're always, you just feel like you'll never catch up to the body of work that Ralph Macchio has and his experience. Obviously, I probably never will. I think being with him is, you just want to keep your game up. You want to just always be just right there with him and just keep fighting to get like just a little closer to the level of like professionalism and I don't know, joie de vivre. I'm just gonna throw out some words here that I don't know what they mean. Joie de vivre.
That's how we do it here on the sit down. We just roll with all kinds of stuff like that. And, you know, that's kind of the way you have to go in your acting career, right? You pick up parts here, you pick up parts there. Our CBS audience is obviously familiar with you from Mom, from Big Bang Theory. When you think about, you know, hopping on Big Bang Theory, what were some of the favorite memories there?
When the Big Bang Theory was one of my first real jobs ever. I did commercials and I had like a couple co-stars where I was like pizza. And this was the first job I ever had to actually, you know, have real lines and multiple scenes. And I had no idea what I was doing. And I think at the callback, you know, they were like, can you do a Southern accent? And I was like, oh. And then all the girls in the hallway were like, y'all, I'm gonna read this script. And I was like, oh, they all have Southern accents. Okay, I'm gonna do a Southern accent. And every day on set, Chuck Lorre would be like, you're working on that Southern accent. I'm like, sure am. He's like, keep working on that Southern accent. I was afraid I was gonna get fired the entire time as a Long Island girl trying to keep up and being from Texas. But everyone was so great, but it was before, I mean, it was the first season. So I think it was before the Big Bang took over the world the way it had. And so by the time I came back, I was just like, I don't even feel like I deserve to be in this room with all of you major, huge, important people.
Yeah, it's funny how shows go. You know, you have a show like that that obviously had huge staying power. Even Mom too. I mean, that's been around for a super long time. So when you think about that experience, what stands out to you the most?
I just remember, I know she's no longer with the show, but I remember Anna Faris being so kind and open. And I think when you are carrying a show or just someone who's been in the business for a very long time and, you know, the lead, and a lot of times you ultimately you end up being a little guarded, I think, just out of default, you know, a lot of people probably ask a lot of you. And she wasn't like that. She was very open and giving and friendly, and not that everyone's not, but she just had a very open quality about her that I thought was just so refreshing and kind, and she made it very pleasant to be on set. Everybody did, but she in particular, I remember thinking she was
Yeah,
very
those
fond.
experiences are super important. And listen, this journey is a crazy one, whether it's being on a smash show, getting your little parts here and there, having insurance. What has been the biggest surprise to you? I mean, listen, like that's the real life stuff that not enough people talk about. So what has been most surprising that we don't talk enough about when it comes to being an actor in Hollywood?
Um, most surprising. I mean, I don't know if it's surprising, but it's all the hustle. And occasionally you get magic, but for me, it's all hustle. It's hustle. It's hustle. I think you see the end results on screen, but you don't see the bajillion auditions and the no's that you're getting. You hear about them, but you know, I built a career of a lot of no's,
Mhm.
and then occasionally getting the yes.
That's definitely a part of the game. How about going forward? What are some types of parts that you'd like to play? Because you've obviously done all different types of lives. You know, what else really piques your interest going forward?
I love to play people without a very good moral compass. I think I personally, if any dream role would probably be Johnny in Cobra Kai, because I think that he just doesn't have regard for the social norms. What's the word I'm looking for? You know, so he does things his own way, whether it's right or wrong, and he doesn't really give an F. I love that about people. I love characters who are just doing their own thing and can be hilariously wrong because they're just so inappropriate. So I'd like to find an inappropriate role. You know what?
Hey, you know what? Go for it. Why not? Courtney, really nice to meet you. Congratulations on this, and we'll talk to you down the road, all right?
Maybe like